How's it going, guys? It's Najam. Welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to review the Unihertz Jelly 2. The version I have is running Android 11 and it was built in 2021, so this is not an old phone. This does have a 3-inch display and there's a reason why this phone exists, and that is because a lot of people, they are just sick and tired of having really big phones. So as you can see, it fits in my hand. It is a very small phone. Here's the back. We're gonna show you some features that it has and also what I like about it. I'll talk about what I like about it and what I dislike about it as well. First off, let's start with the specifications. This has a 3-inch display with a resolution of 854 by 480p. So it's essentially a 16 by 9 480p screen. It has a Helio P60 8-core CPU which goes to 2 GHz. It's got 6 GB of RAM, 128 GB of storage. On the front it has an 8 megapixel camera which does not have autofocus, and on the back it has a fingerprint sensor as well as a flash, and it has a 16 megapixel camera that does have autofocus. Now it does have 2 SIM card slots, so you can have 2 SIMs in it, or if you want you can have 1 SIM card and 1 micro SD card as well. So this does have a micro SD card slot. The build quality on this phone is exceptional. It is really nice. It's built really well. It comes in this jelly case which is very nice to have. Now let's talk about the ease of use. Because this is a small phone, it's very easy to just reach at the other corner of the display, and that's one of the things I love about this phone. It's a very easy to hold. It's very small, and the curved design on it is really nice. It fits in the hand really well, and I can easily get to the volume rocker without moving my hand. There's a power button, and then you have the function key which turns on the flashlight by default. And it does a whole bunch of other things, like I think I've got it on set to screenshot. Gonna delete that. So that's pretty cool. I love the ease of use of this. It's a very nice and easy phone to use. Now let's talk about the display. Now here's the home screen on mine. If I go into this now, because this is a 3-inch display, you want to scale things a little bit bigger so you can read a bit easily. But if you go into the settings, and this does not scale, unfortunately, that's separate. So if I go into settings and I go into the display settings over here, you can actually change the font size to being small, and essentially this is going to be like a really small phone. Everything's going to be really small on it, so you can use this as a normal phone. So if I go back into the application, you can see it has scaled everything to being small, and it fits more on the screen like this. But because it's a small display, I do prefer bigger text. The Helio P60 in this is a really good CPU. I did have some stuttering initially, but I restarted the phone and it's gone away, and now it's perfectly smooth. It's just a really nice experience. It doesn't really have any stuttering, which is very nice. It's a very nice experience. The CPU is not as quick as some of the higher-end Snapdragon or even the mid-range Snapdragon CPUs, but it doesn't have any stuttering, and it's not really a slow CPU. As far as the GPU goes, because this is just a 480p display, you can play different games like Minecraft, and I haven't really noticed any lag or anything stutter like that, so that's very nice because it's only a 480p display, and it's a very nice display as well. The viewing angles are actually pretty nice. It's a really nice display. Now let's look around the device. You do have a function key on the side, and you also have the power button. There's a headphone jack on top, and as well as an IR blaster over there. On the back you do have a fingerprint sensor, and you do have a Type-C port on the side for charging. And the speaker is at the bottom along with the microphone, and this jelly case does have this little snippet here, so you can use the lanyard. And you have the volume control over on the left side of the phone. As far as experience goes, everything works on this phone. So here are the social medias. I'm gonna show you. Go on Instagram. So here's Instagram. This, as you can see, perfectly smooth. And let's go ahead and show you something else, and that is WhatsApp, which is why I've got it here, is because I use it a lot. Now as you can see, I've scaled the size so it's a bit bigger. I will blur this out, but you can see the contacts. I've been calling on this and it's working fine. It's working perfectly, so that's very nice. Let's go ahead and jump into the cameras, and I'll show you the cameras, and I'll talk about the cameras just for a bit. What I find the most annoying thing about these cameras is that they're not really easy to use because they don't have optical image stabilization. And I'm assuming I got used to it on other phones, but I sometimes find even in daylight, I get some motion blur in images, and it's not the phone's fault. I've even done the same on actual cameras that I've got that don't have image stabilization at all. So it's not exactly the phone's fault. But as far as image quality goes, I've been taking some product shots here, which is some stuff I want to sell on eBay, and I'm very happy with the image quality. I know it's not amazing. The biggest drawback for this camera is that it doesn't control highlights very well. But as far as the detail goes, if you zoom in, you can actually see it has really good detail. The 16 megapixel camera on the back is very nice. The highlights again do have a problem, but I'm very happy with the image quality that comes out of this. I know a lot of people say that it's not good cameras, but I think the only issue is that it doesn't have a lot of dynamic range as far as sharpness goes. So this is the raw file here, and if you zoom in, you can see that it's soft and it does say raw on the top. But the JPEG processing, as you can see, it's actually not bad. And this is under normal lighting conditions. You can see the detail on the face. I'm actually very impressed with the cameras. They're very nice. It does have a pro mode, so you can change the ISO down to 100, and then you can have a nightmare taking pictures. One of the things I love about this phone is that it does shoot RAW, so that's very nice. It does allow to shoot RAW images, and I did mess about with RAW therapy. I'll be honest with you, the RAW images are not very nice from this camera. I think it might be the lens. It's really soft, but they managed to get some detail out of the JPEGs, which is very impressive. For most people, this is going to be a really fine camera. There's no issues with it. The Unihertz Jelly 2 has a 2000 milliamp hour battery inside, and I've not been using any battery saving mode on this. I've been using this full power all the time, and I've been easily able to get one full day and then a little bit of leftover for the next day, and then by then I charge it up again anyways. So I don't have an issue with the battery life. I think it's normal. It's the same as the one on the Pixel 4. The battery size is different, screen's different and everything, which is actually right here. But the battery life that I get out of it is the same. So this phone is £150 on AliExpress. I just want to go over some of the things I dislike about this, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, I suppose. But one thing I don't like about this phone is that even though it's a very light phone, it does feel a bit heavy in the hand, and that's because it's small. It probably has a lot of mass, and so it does feel like it weighs you down. But if you put it in the pocket, you can't really feel it. So not only is it very small, so it'll be easy in the pocket, and also it takes up less space, so that's very nice. Now the second thing I don't like about this phone is that it's a very thick phone, and you know, when you make small phones, you don't want to exactly make them really thick. Now I understand that it's a small phone, there's not enough space, they're gonna have to layer some things to fit them in there with the battery and the PCB and then the display and everything. Whereas on big phones like this one, you can have the PCB here and then the battery over here, so it'll make it slim. I understand that, but I'm gonna just mention something here. This has a micro SD card slot, it's got a function button, it's got a headphone jack and an IR blaster. I'll be honest with you, I really don't think these are necessary in this day and age. They can get rid of the function button, or although I do like the function button, it's very useful to have. I've just not found an issue on the Pixel, because you can just go ahead and swipe down and then turn the torch on from there. When you get rid of the function button, I just don't really miss it. The other thing is the headphone jack. Now it's nice to have a headphone jack and the IR blaster as well. I just don't think it's quite necessary. I don't find myself ever using the headphone jack. And I forgot to mention the speakers. They are a little tinny, but it gets very loud. And I'm perfectly happy with the speakers. They're just fine. Now back to the changes that I would like to see. They can get rid of the headphone jack. They can get rid of the IR blaster. Although very useful features, they just don't really have that much of a use. As well as the function button. And they can get rid of the micro SD card slot. Make this one SIM card only. And you know what? They can get rid of these capacitive buttons, because while they're nice, again, it's just unnecessary. You can get this on the phone screen. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you're trying to make a small phone, you shouldn't really be packing in so many features. And I understand this is a very nice thing to have. It's got very nice features. And probably nobody out there has been complaining about the thickness of the phone or the weight of the phone. But I'm just talking from experience. This is just my personal experience. I don't like the thickness of it. It's easy to use. It's more easier to have in the pocket than any of the other phones that I had, because it is a very small phone. But again, you can make this a lot slimmer by getting rid of some of the headphone jack and some of the other features. I'm pretty sure you can do something about it, especially get rid of the capacitive buttons and use on-screen buttons. You can easily make this a much slimmer phone. So that's the only gripe I have about it. Now, that being said, I am nitpicking quite a bit, because my whole experience with this phone has been exceptional. It has been amazing. I've loved the fact of having a small screen, being able to just reach on the other corner. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. The rest is joy. It's very, very nice. It suits the purpose that it's made for, and it's a very nice phone. If you guys have any questions about this phone, just ask me in the comment section below. I'm sure I missed something out. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.